The family dinner was set for 7 p.m. on Sunday. Zara spent 3 hours getting ready. Not because she cared about impressing Junho's family, she'd already decided most of them would hate her regardless, but because armor came in many forms. Tonight, it came as a navy blue dress that was elegant without being provocative. Pearl earrings her grandmother had given her, and makeup applied with surgical precision. She looked in the mirror and barely recognized herself. This wasn't Dr. Zara Williams, who spent weekends treating uninsured immigrants. This was someone performing respectability, someone trying to be acceptable enough to survive. She hated it. Junho picked her up at 6:30 in his black Mercedes. He took one look at her, and his expression shifted. Hello, viewers. Welcome to AfroQuave TV, where stories are turned to reality. Before we dive into the full version of this second episode, we want to say a very big thank you for all your support before now. We are indebtedly grateful for where this support is taking us to. Kindly subscribe to the channel if you are yet to, and let us know the location and the time you are watching this video from in the comment section. Thank you. You look beautiful, he said. Then quieter. But you don't look like you. That's the point, isn't it? To be the version of me they can tolerate. Junho's jaw tightened. Zara. It's fine. I understand how this works. She got into the car. Let's just get through tonight. The drive to his mother's house in Pyeongchang-dong was silent. Junho kept glancing at her, opening his mouth like he wanted to say something, then closing it again. Zara stared out the window at Seoul passing by. This city that had become home and prison all at once. The house was massive. Traditional Korean architecture mixed with modern luxury, surrounded by walls that promised privacy and delivered isolation. Security cameras tracked their arrival. Guards nodded at Junho with respect that bordered on fear. This was his world. Money and power built on violence dressed up as business. And she was about to walk into its heart, wearing pearls and a smile. Junho's mother met them at the door. She embraced Zara warmly, too warmly, the kind of warmth that felt strategic. You look lovely, she said in English. Come. Everyone's eager to meet you. That was definitely a lie. The dining room was full. Junho's uncle sat at the head of the table, his father's younger brother, who'd helped build the empire and clearly resented not inheriting it. Beside him was Junho's cousin Sung-min, the one who'd been promised Gangnam operations if Junho didn't show up to the blind date. His eyes tracked Zara like a predator watching prey. There were others too, aunts whose names Zara immediately forgot, business associates who weren't technically family but held enough power to matter, and wives, polished Korean women in expensive clothes who smiled with their mouths but not their eyes. Junho pulled out a chair for Zara. She sat, feeling every gaze on her like physical weight. So, Junho's uncle said in Korean, not bothering with English, this is the American. Junho's mother translated, though Zara had understood perfectly. She'd been studying Korean harder than she'd let on. Yes, Zara said in careful Korean. It's an honor to meet you. The uncle's eyebrows rose. You speak Korean? I'm learning, slowly. 2 years in Seoul and only learning slowly. He smiled, but there was no warmth in it. That suggests you're not planning to stay. Uncle, Junho said, his voice carrying a warning. I'm just making conversation. The uncle switched to English. Your Korean is quite good, actually. Better than I expected from someone who... He paused deliberately. Comes from such a different background. Zara felt Junho tense beside her. She put her hand on his knee under the table. A silent message. I can handle this. My background taught me that respect is earned through effort, Zara said calmly. That's why I'm learning your language, your culture, so I can understand the man I care about and the world he comes from. How noble, one of the aunts said. And what does your family think about you dating a Korean man? They think he makes me happy. That's what matters to them. Happiness. Sungmin laughed. Is that what we're calling it now? Sungmin. Junho's voice went cold. Enough. What? I'm just curious what a successful American doctor sees in our Junho. Surely it's not his charming personality. It's his honesty, Zara said, meeting Sungmin's eyes. He doesn't pretend to be something he's not. I find that refreshing. The table went quiet. Zara had just implied that everyone else was pretending. It wasn't subtle, but subtlety wasn't working. Dinner was served, expensive dishes that Zara barely tasted. The conversation flowed around her in Korean too rapidly for her to follow completely, but she caught enough. Comments about foreign women, questions about her intentions, thinly veiled insults dressed as concern. Junho's mother tried to redirect several times, but even she couldn't control the whole table. Then Sungmin leaned forward. I have a question, he said in English. A genuine one. Do you know what Junho does? What does this family do? Sungmin, Junho's mother said sharply. No, it's a fair question. She should know what she's getting into. Sungmin smiled at Zara. Junho runs protection services, real estate development, import-export businesses. Very successful, very profitable. But did he tell you how those businesses actually operate? I know enough, Zara said. Do you know about the clubs where women work against their will? The businesses that pay us so their shops don't burn down. The people who disappear when they become inconvenient. Junho stood so fast, his chair fell backward. That's enough. Is it? Or are you ashamed to have your girlfriend know the truth? Sungmin stood too. You talk about honesty, Dr. Williams. Has Junho been honest with you about the blood on his hands? The room exploded into Korean. Junho's uncle shouting at Sungmin. Junho's mother trying to restore order. Other family members taking sides. Zara sat perfectly still, her hands folded in her lap, while chaos erupted around her. Then she stood. Everyone stopped talking. Thank you for dinner, Zara said quietly, but I think I should leave. Zara? Junho reached for her. Please don't. She pulled away gently. I need some air, some space. Can someone call me a taxi? I'll drive you, Junho said. I'd rather you didn't. The rejection landed hard. Junho's face went blank, the way it did when he was hurt but trying to hide it. His mother stepped forward. I'll have my driver take you. Zara, I'm so sorry. It's not your fault. Zara managed a smile. You tried, but this was always going to be difficult. She walked out before anyone could stop her, before Junho could see the tears starting to form, before she could break in front of people who'd been waiting for exactly that. The driver took her home in silence. Zara stared out the window and wondered how something that felt so right could be so completely impossible. Junho showed up at her apartment 3 hours later. Zara had changed into sweats, washed off the makeup, taken her hair down. She'd been sitting on her couch with Mango, crying quietly, when the knock came. She almost didn't answer, but she could see Junho's shadow under the door, could feel him waiting. She opened it. He looked terrible. Tie loosened, hair disheveled, eyes red like maybe he'd been crying too. "I'm sorry," he said. "For what? Is your family being honest about who you are? Sungmin was trying to hurt you, to scare you away." "Maybe, but was he lying?" Junho's silence was enough. Zara leaned against the doorframe. "I knew you weren't running a charity. I knew your business involved things that weren't entirely legal. But human trafficking, Junho, forcing women into prostitution, burning down shops. It's not that simple. Then explain it to me. Make me understand how complicated it is." Junho ran his hand through his hair. "My father built this empire in the 70s. Korea was different then. Poorer, more desperate. He did what he had to do to survive, to provide for his family. And yes, some of that was ugly. But by the time I inherited it, everything was already in motion. Hundreds of people depending on the business, rival families waiting for any sign of weakness. I couldn't just shut it all down without starting a war. So you kept it going. I tried to make it better, cleaner. I shut down the worst operations, made new rules about how we treat the women who work in the clubs, reduced the protection fees. But I can't change everything overnight without destroying everything." That sounds like an excuse. It's a reality. Junho's voice rose. "You live in a world where right and wrong are clear, where you help people and go home feeling good about yourself. I live in a world where every choice is between bad and worse, where stopping one evil means enabling another. And I'm really trying to move us towards something better. But it takes time." Zara felt tears sting her eyes again. "I can't be with someone who profits from suffering. I can't love you and also look at the women I treat at the clinic, knowing your organization might be part of why they're suffering. Then help me change it." "What?" Junho stepped closer. "You asked me once why I wanted to be better. The truth is, I didn't. Not until I met you. You make me want to be someone different, someone who doesn't have to hide what he does, someone who builds things instead of breaking them." "Junho, I know I can't change overnight. I know there are things I've done that you'll never be able to forgive. But if you help me, if you show me how to be better, maybe I can start dismantling the worst parts. Maybe I can use my power to actually help people instead of controlling them." Zara wanted to believe him. "I wanted to think love could transform a man built by violence into someone gentle. But she'd seen too much. Knew too much about how power corrupted, how good intentions paved roads to terrible places. I need time," she said, "to think, to figure out if I can live with this, with you." Junho nodded slowly. "How much time?" "I don't know. Days? Weeks? I don't know, Junho. Just, I need space. Can you give me that?" He looked like she'd shot him, but he nodded. "Okay, but Zara, whatever you decide, I need you to know something." "What?" "I love you. I didn't plan to. I didn't want to. You've made everything more complicated and difficult and scary. But I love you, and I'll spend the rest of my life trying to be worthy of that if you give me the chance." Then he left. Zara closed the door and slid down to the floor, her back against the wood. Mango came over and headbutted her leg, purring. "What do I do?" she whispered to the cat. Mango, predictably, had no answers. 3 days passed without contact. Zara threw herself into work, double shifts at the hospital, extra hours at the clinic, anything to keep her mind from spinning in circles about Junho and his impossible world. On Thursday, Detective Park Mi-sun showed up at the clinic. Zara was with a patient, a Filipino woman whose son had asthma. When the receptionist told her someone from the police wanted to speak with her, Zara's stomach dropped. She finished with her patient, then went to the small office where Detective Park waited. The detective was in her mid-40s, professional, with tired eyes that had seen too much. "Dr. Williams," she said, "thank you for seeing me." "Is something wrong?" "That depends. How much do you know about Park Jun-ho's organization?" Zara's mouth went dry. "Why?" "Because you've been dating him for a month. You've been to his penthouse, met his family, spent time in places connected to his business. And I'm hoping you might have seen or heard something that could help us." "Help you do what?" Detective Park leaned forward. "Bring down one of Seoul's largest criminal organizations. We've been investigating the Park family for 3 years. We know about protection rackets, money laundering, and trafficking, but we can't prove enough to make charges stick. We need someone on the inside." "And you think I'm that someone?" "I think you're a good person who's gotten involved with a dangerous man. I think you probably have access to information that could save lives. And I think you might be willing to help us if you understood what's at stake." Detective Park pulled out photos. Women, young, some Korean, some Southeast Asian, some from Africa. These women were all trafficked through clubs owned by Jun-ho's organization, forced into prostitution. 3 of them are dead. 5 are missing. The rest are 2, terrified to testify. She pushed the photos towards Zara. "You work with vulnerable populations. You know what it means when people can't escape, when they're trapped by fear and debt and violence." Zara's hands shook as she looked at the photos. These could be her patients. Women who came to the clinic with injuries they wouldn't explain, who flinched at loud noises, who had that hollow look of people who'd given up hope. "What do you want from me?" Zara asked. "Information, documents, recordings, anything that proves what the Park organization does. You have access Jun-ho won't give anyone else. He trusts you. He loves me. Then use that for something good, to help people who can't help themselves." Zara stood up. "I need to think about this." "Don't think too long. Every day you wait, more women suffer." Detective Park left her card. Zara stared at it for a long time after she was gone. That night, Jun-ho called. Zara stared at her phone for 3 rings before answering. "Hello?" "Hi." His voice was careful. "How are you?" "Tired. You?" "The same." "Zara, I know you asked for space, but I miss you, and I wanted you to know I've started making changes." "What kind of changes?" "I shut down 3 of the clubs, the ones where the women didn't have proper contracts or were working under coercion. I'm having my lawyers review all our employment practices, and I fired the manager who was running the protection racket in Itaewon, the one near your clinic." Zara's throat tightened. "Why?" "Because you were right, about me being part of the problem, and because I want to be better, for you, for myself, for all those people you talk about who deserve not to be crushed by systems like mine. Jun-ho, I know it doesn't fix everything. I know I can't undo years of damage in a week, but I'm trying, and I'll keep trying, whether you come back to me or not." Zara closed her eyes. She could hear the sincerity in his voice, could feel him reaching across the distance between them. But she also saw Detective Park's photos in her mind, the women who'd suffered, who were still suffering. "Can I see you?" Jun-ho asked. "Just for coffee. Just to talk." "Okay," Zara heard herself say. "Tomorrow, the same place we went on our first date." "Thank you." After they hung up, Zara sat with Detective Park's card in one hand and her phone in the other. Two paths. Both are impossible, both necessary. She thought about Junho's face when he'd said he loved her, about the crack in his armor, about the possibility that maybe, just maybe, love could change someone. But she also thought about the women in the photos, about her oath as a doctor to do no harm, about the fact that staying silent made her complicit. Zara didn't sleep that night. They met at the coffee shop in Hongdae at 2 p.m. on Friday. Junho was already there, sitting in the same booth they'd shared a month ago. He stood when she entered, his eyes searching her face like he was trying to read her decision before she spoke it. "Hi," he said. "Hi." They sat, ordered terrible coffee. I didn't drink it. "I've been thinking about what you said," Zara began, "about trying to be better, about changing the business. And I want to believe you. I want to think that love can transform everything, that you'll dismantle your father's empire and build something clean and will live happily ever after." She paused. "But that's not realistic, is it?" Junho's jaw tightened. "Change takes time." "How much time?" "Because while you're slowly reforming your organization, how many women are still being trafficked? How many businesses are still paying protection money they can't afford? How many people are suffering? I told you. I shut down the clubs. I fired 3 clubs, Junho. Out of how many? 10, 20. And firing one manager doesn't dismantle the whole protection system." Zara leaned forward. "I want you to understand something. I believe you want to change. I believe you love me. But wanting isn't enough. Loving me isn't enough. You have to actually choose to destroy everything your family built. And I don't think you can do that." "Why not?" "Because it would mean giving up power, wealth, everything you've known your whole life. It would mean admitting your father was wrong, that you've been wrong, and people like you, people who've had control their entire lives, they don't know how to let go of it." Junho was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was raw. "You're right. Giving up everything terrifies me. The thought of being powerless, of not being able to protect myself or my family, of losing control, it keeps me up at night." He met her eyes. "But you know what terrifies me more? Losing you. Becoming the kind of man my father was, alone, feared, but never truly loved. Living in a palace I built on suffering." "Then prove it. Don't tell me you're changing. Show me. Dismantle the trafficking operations completely. Kiinchin, the protection rackets. Turn your legitimate businesses actually legitimate. Show me you can choose humanity over power. That could take months, years. Then I guess we'll see how patient I can be." Junho reached across the table, took her hand. "If I do this, if I really do this, will you stay? Will you help me figure out how to build something better?" Zara thought about Detective Park, about the photos, about the choice she had to make. "I'll stay," she said. "But Junho, I need you to understand something. If I find out you're lying to me, if I discover you're still running the same operations while telling me you're changing, we're done. Forever. No second chances. No explanations. Just done. I understand. And I'm going to hold you accountable. I'm going to ask questions, demand transparency, push you when you get comfortable. Can you handle that?" Junho smiled slightly. "You've been doing that since we met. It's one of the things I love about you." They finished their coffee, walked out into the Seoul afternoon. Junho pulled Zara close, kissing her forehead. "Thank you," he whispered, "for giving me a chance to be better." Zara held him tight, feeling the weight of what she'd just agreed to. She was going to help Jun-ho change his organization, really change it. But she was also going to give Detective Park the information she needed. Not to betray Jun-ho, but to protect the women who couldn't protect themselves. She was going to walk a line so thin it might destroy her. Loving a man while dismantling everything he'd built. Helping him transform while ensuring justice was served. It was impossible, but watching someone you loved continue to harm people, that was more impossible. That night, Zara called Detective Park. "I'll help you," she said, "but on my terms. I'm not going to spy on Jun-ho or betray his trust. Instead, I'm going to push him to shut down the illegal operations himself, to turn evidence over to authorities, to actually reform. And if he doesn't, then I'll give you everything I know. But I want to try this way first, to see if redemption is possible." Detective Park was quiet. "You're in love with him." "Yes." "That makes this dangerous, for you." "I know, but I'm doing it anyway." "Okay, but Dr. Williams, if this goes wrong, if he finds out what you're planning, I can't protect you, not from someone like him." "I understand." Zara hung up and sat in the darkness of her apartment, Mango purring beside her. She'd just committed to an impossible task, to transform a criminal empire from the inside while preparing to bring it down from the outside, to love a man while holding him accountable for his sins. It would probably destroy her, but doing nothing would definitely destroy her. So she chose the harder path. The one that might save Jun-ho's soul along with the women his organization had hurt. She just prayed she was strong enough to walk it. The next 3 weeks were a delicate dance. Jun-ho kept his word. Zara watched him systematically review every business the Park organization controlled. He brought in outside auditors, hired employment lawyers, started documenting which operations were legitimate and which existed only to launder money or control territory. It was slow, painful. Every change met resistance from his uncle, from Song-min, from the old guard who'd built their wealth on violence. But Jun-ho pushed forward. He brought Zara to meetings with his lawyers, let her review contracts, asked her opinion on how to treat workers fairly, listened when she pointed out that better conditions in a forced prostitution operation didn't make it acceptable. It needed to be shut down entirely. "My uncle says I'm destroying the family legacy," Jun-ho told her one night. They were in his penthouse, reviewing documents spread across his dining table. "That my father would be ashamed." "What do you think?" "I think my father built something that needed to exist in the Korea of his time. But times change. What worked in the 70s doesn't work now, shouldn't work now." He looked at her. "Does that make sense?" "It makes sense. But Jun-ho, you can't reform these operations. You have to end them. Completely." "I know. I'm working toward that." "How long?" 6 months, maybe a year. I have to transition people out, find them other work, make sure shutting things down doesn't just hand territory to worse organizations." Zara nodded. It was more time than she wanted, but it was also realistic. She reported everything to Detective Park, not to build a case against Jun-ho, but to document his efforts, to show that real change was happening. Detective Park wasn't convinced. "He's stalling," she said when they met at a quiet cafe. "Giving you just enough progress to keep you satisfied while maintaining his power. Or he's actually trying to do this the right way, to not just burn everything down and create chaos. Zara, I've seen this before. Men like Jun-ho don't change. They just get better at hiding what they do. Then give him time to prove you wrong." Detective Park shook her head. Every day we wait, more people suffer. And if we arrest him now, someone worse takes over. His uncle, his cousin, people who won't even try to reform. Is that better? The detective had no answer to that. In the fourth week, everything shifted. Junho called Zara at midnight. His voice was tight. I need you to come to the penthouse. Now. What's wrong? Just come, please. Zara grabbed a taxi. Arrived at the penthouse to find Junho pacing, his phone in his hand, his face pale. What happened? Sungmin made a move. He went to the other families, told them I'm weak, that I'm destroying our operations to please my foreign girlfriend, that I'm a liability. Zara's blood ran cold. What does that mean? It means they're calling a meeting, all the major families, to vote on whether I stay in control or get removed. Can they do that? In this world? They can do anything if enough people agree. Junho sat down hard on the couch. And if they remove me, Zara, everything I've been trying to change, it gets undone. Sungmin will bring back all the worst practices. My uncle will support him. And I'll be... He stopped. I'll probably be dead. Zara sat beside him. Then we fight. How? I can't defend reforms they see as weakness. Can't argue that treating people ethically is good business when all they care about is profit. Then maybe it's time to stop playing by their rules. Junho looked at her. What do you mean? Zara took a breath. This was it. The moment she'd been preparing for. What if you worked with the police? What if you gave them evidence against Sungmin, against your uncle, against everyone who's running the worst operations? Help them dismantle the truly criminal parts of the organization while protecting the legitimate businesses. You're asking me to betray my family. I'm asking you to choose between your family and the women they're trafficking. Between power built on suffering and actually being the man you told me you wanted to be. Junho stood. I walked to the window. I started out in Seoul. If I do this, I lose everything. My name, my reputation. My family will consider me a traitor. The other organizations will put a price on my head. Maybe. Or maybe you gain something more important. Your integrity, your soul, a life you don't have to hide. And you, if I do this, if I become the man who destroyed his own family's empire, will you still want me? Zara went to him, took his hand. I'll want you more, because you'll be choosing humanity over power, love over fear. That's the man I fell in love with, not the crime boss. The person underneath all of that. Junho was quiet for a long moment. Then he pulled out his phone. What are you doing? Zara asked. Calling someone who can help us. If I'm going to burn everything down, I'm going to do it right. He dialed. Waited. Detective Park, this is Park Jun-ho. I'd like to discuss a deal. The news broke on a Tuesday morning. Major organized crime bust in Seoul. 12 arrested, including prominent businessman Park Sung-min and his associates. Evidence provided by an anonymous source within the organization. Junho watched the coverage from a safe house in Busan. Zara sat beside him, holding his hand. He'd given Detective Park everything. Documents, recordings, names. The whole ugly truth of what his family's organization had become. In exchange, immunity for himself and protection for his mother, who'd had no involvement in the criminal operations. It had taken 3 months of careful planning, of extracting Junho's assets from the business, of ensuring the legitimate companies could operate independently, of getting people out who wanted out. His uncle had been arrested trying to flee to China. Sungmin had fought the charges until the evidence became overwhelming. The other families had scattered, trying to protect their own interests, and Junho had lost everything. His name was ruined. His fortune was reduced to a fraction of what it had been. His family legacy was destroyed by his own testimony, but he was free. Regrets? Zara asked. Junho thought about it. Every day, but I also sleep better than I have in years. What happens now? Now we figure out what comes next. Maybe I will go back to school, learn how to run a business legitimately. Maybe we will leave Seoul, start somewhere fresh where nobody knows my name. Or maybe we will stay, and you use what you know about this world to help people escape it. Consult for organizations fighting trafficking. Be the inside voice that others need. Junho smiled. You have a lot of faith in me. I have faith in who you're becoming. They sat in comfortable silence, watching the news coverage, watching Junho's old world collapse. It wasn't a happy ending. Too much had been lost. Too many people had suffered. Junho would spend the rest of his life making amends for his family's crimes. But it was an honest ending, a real one. And sometimes, that was enough. Hello there. It's amazing how you have stayed till this point, and we are glad you have watched till this time. Kindly let us know in the comment section how you feel about this story. What did Zara do that is wrong, and how can this story be improved upon? Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, because we have many amazing stories for you. Support us by LOL and sharing this video. Now, let's continue. 2 weeks after the arrests, Zara's apartment was broken into. Nothing was stolen, but someone had been through everything. Her drawers, her files, her computer. Even Mango's food bowl had been moved. The message was clear. We know where you live. Zara called Junho immediately. He arrived with 2 bodyguards she'd never seen before. Pack a bag, he said. You're not staying here. Junho, I can't just leave. They know you helped me. They know you pushed me to cooperate with the police. And they're going to come after you to get to me. Who's they? Junho's face was grim. My mother. The words hit like ice water. What? I didn't want to believe it. Spent the last week hoping I was wrong, but the detective showed me evidence today. My mother wasn't just the innocent widow I thought she was. She's been running the family's operations for years. My father died 10 years ago, but she kept everything going, used me as the public face while she pulled the strings. Zara felt the room spin. Your mother, the woman who set us up, who wanted grandchildren. She wanted heirs, someone to continue the legacy. But when I started dismantling things, when I chose you over the business, Junho's voice cracked. She put a price on both our heads. $500,000 to whoever eliminates the problem. We're the problem. We're the problem. Zara sat down hard. Sweet, lonely Mrs. Park, who'd seemed so desperate for her son to find love, who'd welcomed Zara warmly, who defended her at that disastrous family dinner. All of it was manipulation, strategy, a way to control Junho through the one thing he'd never had before, genuine emotion. Where is she now? Zara asked. Gone. Disappeared the day before the arrests. Detective Park thinks she's in Hong Kong or maybe Tokyo, somewhere with no extradition treaty. Junho knelt in front of Zara. But she has resources, connections, people who'll do anything for money. We need to leave Seoul tonight. And where? I have a place on Jeju Island, remote, secure. We can hide there while Detective Park builds a case against her. How long? I don't know. Months, maybe. Zara looked around her small apartment, her life in Seoul, her patients at the clinic, her work at the hospital, everything she'd built. I can't just abandon my patients, she said. They'll kill you, Zara. My mother doesn't make idle threats. Then we go to the police, get protection. The police can't protect us from someone with her resources. She owns half the force. The other half she can buy. Junho took her hands. Please, trust me. We need to disappear until this is over. Zara wanted to argue. I wanted to believe there was another way. But she saw the fear in Junho's eyes. Real fear. The kind that said he'd already calculated their chances and didn't like the numbers. Okay, she said. But Junho, when this is over, when your mother is caught, I'm coming back. To my work. My life. I won't let her take that from me. When this is over, I'll help you rebuild anything she destroys. I promise. They packed quickly. Zara left a note for her supervisor at the hospital, citing a family emergency. Called her parents in New York, kept it vague but urgent. Grabbed Mango and his carrier. By midnight, they were on a private plane to Jeju Island. The safe house was beautiful in a desolate way. Perched on a cliff overlooking the ocean, surrounded by rocks and wind, and nothing else for miles. Junho had bought it years ago as an escape. Now it was a prison protecting them from his own mother. The first week was surreal. Zara and Junho lived like fugitives in paradise. They couldn't leave the property, couldn't contact anyone except Detective Park through encrypted channels. Just waited while the detective worked to locate Junho's mother and build enough evidence for an international arrest warrant. This is insane, Zara said one morning. They were sitting on the deck, watching waves crash below. 3 months ago, I was living a normal life. Working, dating casually, complaining about Seoul traffic. Now I'm hiding from a crime boss who happens to be my boyfriend's mother. Junho managed a weak smile. When you put it that way, it does sound like a drama. A bad one. The kind with too many plot twists. I'm sorry. For all of this. You didn't sign up for... Stop. Zara turned to face him. I chose this. Choose you. Knowing it would be complicated. I just didn't realize how complicated it was. Do you regret it? Zara thought about the question honestly. Did she regret falling in love with a man whose world was built on violence? Who dragged her into danger she'd never imagined? No, she said finally. I regret your mother's choices, your family's business, the system that made all of this possible. But I don't regret you. The real you, the man who's trying so hard to be better. Junho kissed her, soft and desperate, like he was trying to memorize the taste of her. I don't deserve you, he whispered. Probably not, but you're stuck with me anyway. They held each other while the ocean raged below, two people learning that love wasn't always enough, but sometimes it was all you had. On day 12, Detective Park called with news. We found her, she said over the encrypted line. Your mother, she's in Macau, living in a luxury hotel under an assumed name. Junho put the call on the speaker. Can you extradite her? We're working on it, but Macau has complicated relationships with Korean law enforcement. It could take months, maybe longer. We can't hide here for months. I know. That's why I'm calling. We have another option. Junho and Zara exchanged glances. What option? Your mother made a mistake. She contacted someone in Seoul, one of her old associates, tried to arrange a payment for... Detective Park paused. For the contract with you, we intercepted the communication, and we have an idea. I don't like where this is going, Zara said. We want to use you as bait, both of you. Let it leak that you're in Jeju. Wait for whoever she sends. Then we catch them and use them to build our case against her. Absolutely not, Junho said immediately. You're asking us to paint targets on our backs. You already have targets on your backs. This way, at least we control the situation. We'll have officers positioned around the property. Surveillance. The moment anyone approaches, we move in. And if something goes wrong? If they get past your officers? Detective Park was quiet. Then you defend yourselves. But Junho, this is the fastest way to end this. Otherwise, you're looking at months, maybe years of hiding. Your mother has resources. She can wait for you out. Junho looked at Zara. What do you think? Zara's mind raced. They could keep hiding, keep living in this beautiful prison. Or they could take the risk, force the confrontation. How long would we have to wait? She asked. Once we leak your location? Maybe a week, maybe less if she's desperate. And you're sure you can protect us? As sure as I can be. That wasn't reassuring, but it was honest. Give us an hour to discuss, Junho said. After they hung up, Junho and Zara walked on the beach. Mango watched them from the window, probably judging their life choices. I don't want to do this, Junho said. Don't want to risk you. And I don't want to spend the next year hiding, unable to work, unable to live. Zara stopped walking. Your mother is never going to stop, Junho. Not unless we force her to. This might be our only chance. She could send professionals, people who won't hesitate to kill us both. Then we make sure we're ready. You told me once that you protect what's yours. I'm asking you to protect us by ending this. Junho pulled her close. If anything happens to you, it won't. We'll be careful. We'll trust Detective Park. And when this is over, we'll finally be free. Really free. No more hiding. No more running. You make it sound simple. It's not simple. It's terrifying. But it's necessary. They called Detective Park back, agreed to the plan. Within 2 days, the trap was set. Police officers disguised as contractors working on neighboring properties. Surveillance equipment hidden around the cliff house. Detective Park herself stationed in a van half a mile away. And Junho and Zara waited. The attack came on day 6. 3 a.m. Zara was asleep when Junho shook her awake. Someone's on the property, he whispered. Zara's heart slammed against her ribs. She grabbed her phone, texted Detective Park the code word they'd agreed on. Sunrise. Junho had a gun. Zara hadn't known he kept one in the house, hadn't wanted to know. Stay behind me, he said. They moved through the dark house. Junho had cut the lights the moment the perimeter alarm triggered. Now they are navigated by moonlight and memory. Zara heard footsteps, multiple people, moving through the house with practiced silence, professional, just like Junho had feared. They made it to the panic room, a reinforced closet Junho had installed years ago. He pushed Zara inside. Lock it behind me, he said. What? No, Junho, lock it. Don't open it for anyone except Detective Park. I'll lead them away from you. You'll get yourself killed. Better me than you. He kissed her hard. Then he was gone, moving back into the house. Zara locked the panic room door with shaking hands, pressed her ear against it, heard shouting, gunshots, the sound of furniture breaking. She pulled out her phone, called Detective Park. They're inside, she gasped. Junho went after them alone. Officers are moving in. Stay where you are. Don't open the door for anyone. More gunshots, closer now. Zara heard Junho's voice shouting in Korean, then a crash, then silence, terrible silence. Junho, Zara whispered into the dark. Nothing. She waited, counted seconds, got to 300 before she heard footsteps approaching the panic room. Someone tried the handle, found it locked. Dr. Williams, a woman's voice, accent, cold. I know you're in there. Open the door. Zara didn't answer. Your boyfriend is dead. My men shot him. If you open the door now, I'll make your death quick. If you make me break it down, you'll suffer. Your choice. Zara's vision blurred with tears. Junho couldn't be dead. He couldn't be. Last chance, Dr. Williams. The door shuddered. Someone kicked it. The reinforced steel held. Then came different sounds. Police sirens, shouting, more gunshots from elsewhere in the house. The woman outside the panic room cursed, footsteps running away. Zara waited, prayed, bargained with gods she didn't believe in. Finally, Dr. Williams, it's Detective Park. You can open the door. Zara's hands shook so badly, she could barely work the lock. When the door opened, Detective Park stood there with 2 officers. Where's Junho? Zara demanded. Detective Park's expression was carefully neutral. We need to get you out of here first. Where is he? He's been shot. The paramedics are working on him. But Dr. Williams, you need to prepare yourself. Zara shoved past her, ran through the house, found Junho on the living room floor. Paramedics surrounded him, blood everywhere. So much blood. She dropped to her knees beside him. His eyes were closed. His chest barely moved. Junho, she whispered, please, don't leave me. Not now. Not after everything. One of the paramedics looked up. Are you a doctor? Yes. Then you know he needs surgery. Immediately. We're loading him into the helicopter now. They lifted Junho onto a stretcher. Zara followed in a daze, watched them load him into the medical helicopter that had landed on the beach. Can I go with him? She asked. The paramedic nodded. Come on. As the helicopter lifted off, Zara held Junho's hand. I watched the cliff house disappear below, saw police lights surrounding it, saw bodies being carried out. The trap had worked. They'd caught the assassins, but the cost might be Junho's life. The helicopter touched down at Seoul National University Hospital 40 minutes later. They rushed Junho into surgery. Zara tried to follow, but the trauma surgeon stopped her. You're too close to this, he said gently. Let us work. Zara stood in the hallway, covered in Junho's blood, shaking. Detective Park arrived an hour later. We got 3 of them, she said. The woman who spoke to you was Park Ji-hai, one of Junho's mother's most trusted enforcers. She's talking, giving us everything in exchange for a deal. I don't care. She confirmed your mother-in-law ordered the hit. We have enough now for an international warrant. Macau authorities will cooperate. She'll be arrested within 48 hours. I don't care. Zara's voice broke. Junho is dying. His mother wins either way. He's not dead yet. Yet. They sat in silence, waiting. The surgery stretched to 3 hours, then 4, then 6. Finally, the trauma surgeon emerged. His face was exhausted. He's alive, he said. Barely. The next 24 hours are critical. If he makes it through that... Can I see him? 5 minutes. He's unconscious. But yes. Zara went to the ICU. Found Junho connected to machines, tubes, monitors. His face was pale, peaceful, like he was just sleeping. She took his hand. I love you, she whispered. And you don't get to leave me. You promised we'd rebuild everything together. You promised me freedom. So you have to wake up. You have to fight. Junho didn't respond. Just breathed in, out. Each breath is a battle. Zara stayed until the nurse made her leave. Then she collapsed in the waiting room. Detective Park sat beside her. His mother will be arrested, she said quietly. Everything she built will be dismantled. Justice will be served. Justice! Zara laughed bitterly. Justice is Junho dying for his mother's sins, for trying to be better. Justice is complicated. Justice is broken. They sat in the pre-dawn light, two women who tried to fix an unfixable world and paid the price. Zara's phone buzzed. A text from the hospital administrator. Your presence is requested in conference room 3. Urgent. What now? She muttered. She walked to the conference room on autopilot, opened the door, and froze. Junho's mother sat at the table, elegant, composed, smiling. Hello, Zara, she said in perfect English. I think it's time we had a conversation about my son's future and yours. The door closed behind Zara with a soft click. She was trapped in a room with the woman who'd ordered her death. And somewhere above her, Junho was fighting for his life, unable to save her. Wow, what a story here. Dear audience, what do you feel about this story? Tell us in the comment section if you need a part 3. We would also appreciate it if you can give us your support by subscribing to this channel, liking this video, and sharing it with your friends, family, and colleagues. Till we see you again in the next video, stay safe, guys.